Now we move on to our two candidates seeking office for state representative in the Republican primary, Rick Eldridge and Tommy Pettigo. Barbara Simmons, who is running in the Democratic primary, was also invited to participate this evening but was unable to attend. Again, I will read the questions that we provided each of the candidates. In this particular race, we've allowed for 5 minutes for them to address these particular issues. First, as you are aware, Morristown and Hamlin County have been trying for many years to get the state to improve US 11E from 25E to exit 23 on 81. If elected, what will you do to assure the voters that this project will be under construction within the next 2 years? Next, workforce development is critical to the future growth of the Lakeway area, including the plans to greatly expand the Tennessee College of Applied Technology in Morristown. Do you support this effort, and what actions will you take to see that this expansion is underway by early 2019? Drug abuse is not only a problem in Morristown and Hamlin County, but the entire state. Please outline what legislation you would propose to address this problem. Next, under the present state law, students graduating from our local high schools who have parents from other countries cannot attend state colleges or universities without paying out-of-state tuition, which is sometimes as much as 3 times higher. This can make it difficult for our industries to recruit and maintain employees. Would you support legislation that would permit students who have attended a Tennessee high school for at least 3 years and meet the entrance requirements to continue their education in our state colleges and universities by paying in-state tuition rather than out-of-state tuition? Last, as a state representative, what do you think should be Tennessee's top priorities in the next 2 years? And again, alphabetically, and I'm going to have to make sure it would be Mr. Rick Eldridge. Rick?
I'd like to first off say I appreciate everyone coming out this evening. I appreciate the Chamber for putting this event on. I may get a little loud here. The first question dealing with Highway 11E to exit 23, the first phase of this road I think is already pretty much in progress. There's people being contacted about purchasing land for the right-of-ways. I think the concern would be for phase 2 and 3. I think the best approach to handling that is going to be to reach out to the neighboring districts, David Hawk, Gary Hicks, and work as a team to see that that project continues and it stays in the front in TDOT's plan moving forward. I think that you have to build a team in order to get something like that done, especially when it also affects your neighboring counties as well. And to address the TCAT expansion, I most definitely am in favor of the TCAT expansion. As someone who has worked around the trades most of my life, you see a decline in the last few years. And it's not just from the industrial side, but it's also from skilled labor, from contractors as well as heating and air contractors. Just, different trades, you see a decline in people that are interested in going in and doing that type of work. So I would most definitely want to see TCAT expanded. And as far as seeing that it moves forward, I think right now, there has been some progress made on the older parts of the building. As far as the new construction side of it, I think we're probably waiting for the city to move its work center to its new location, and I would fully expect that the TCAT would move rather quickly in the construction process after that point. In dealing with the drug abuse here in Hamlin County, we definitely have a serious issue here. Yesterday, I think there was 472 inmates in our jail. Out of those, I'd say probably 80% or more are in there due to some type of crime that is drug-related. As far as how you deal with it from a legislation issue, I think that part of it's going to be very difficult because it changes. The drug of choices change. It goes from, it's not just the opioids, it's also meth. There's a serious problem here with meth. We think we need to keep, I think the biggest thing we could do from a legislative side is to watch for predatory prescription processes or practices. We need to make sure that doctors aren't encouraging people to get addicted by overprescribing on these medications, and then that forces them to go looking for the drugs either by doctor shopping or by going to the street to find the drugs. So I think that if we were going to legislate, that would probably be one thing that we would really need to strongly look at, and I think the state has already made a move in that direction. In dealing with the in-state tuition, I fully believe that all lawful Tennessee citizens are to be able to take advantage of in-state tuition. I do have a problem, I guess, with people who are here, maybe whether they're illegal or they're here as guests of our state. I don't know that they are entitled to that type of benefit from taxpayer funding. I do think that we have a problem with DACA that needs to be addressed, but that needs to be our federal government. They need to step up and they need to do their job and address this problem. With all of that said, we just talked about what we would like to see with our TCAT expansion. Our Tennessee College of Applied Technologies do not have an in-state or an out-of-state tuition. It is one tuition. We have industries here that are begging for people to work in highly skilled, trained jobs that are good paying jobs. These are not the factories from 1960. These are factories here that are good paying jobs, and we need to encourage people to look to those jobs. As for Tennessee's next priorities, we need to keep on top of our economic expansion. We need to improve our opportunities here in Tennessee. We need to make sure that we work with the Trump administration on immigration issues and trade issues. We need to make sure that we're not hurt by some of the trade issues that are coming up now. We need to make sure that Tennessee has a seat at that table. Thank you all. I appreciate your vote and your support.
Now we'll hear from Challenger Tommy Pettigo.
I too want to thank the Chamber and Mike and Deborah and everybody who was involved with the putting this on. But let's get started. First, talking about US Highway 11E. As you know, Knoxville and Johnson City are connected by a 4-lane highway, with the exception of the road between 25E and Interstate I-81. So the problem is we've got that stretch of land there that needs to be 4-laned. And I believe that the reason we need to do that is because of the economic impact it would have because of our industrial parks. We have Molly, we have Lear, we have the new factory Rockline that's coming. We've got to be able to get goods and services to those people. And also it'd give an opportunity for the residents of Greene County and Hawkins County to access our retail and our restaurants. As a representative, I pledge to you that I will pursue the completion of this project by TDOT. We've got to insist that TDOT fund it. We've got to insist that TDOT remain on schedule. It's too important because it is economic growth for our community. Let's talk about TCAT. TCAT and any public education, I'm for. In my time on City Council, I've been a huge proponent of TCAT. In fact, the city has been working diligently to move their public works so that TCAT can have enough room to expand. I've heard Chamber President Marshall Ramsey say that on any given time, there's 900 jobs available in our community. And when Van Hool starts, that's going to be another 600. So our problem is that we don't have enough qualified workers, and that is TCAT's responsibility. As your state representative, I pledge to work closely with TCAT Director Jerry Young and his staff to advocate for whatever they need to make sure that there's better training for the men and women of Hamilton County. We must expand the TCAT campus, and we must expand the programs that are made available to them. Now, what about the opioid epidemic? I think first we have to say that how proud we are of our city and our county law enforcement officers, which truly are the front line of this problem. If we don't continue to support and embolden our law enforcement community, we don't have a chance on this problem. The opioid epidemic is more than a law-breaking problem. It's a life-breaking problem. The governor has strong plans in tracking the opioid epidemic on the state level with 3 agendas: prevention, treatment, and law enforcement. As a state representative, it would be the job to foster the same kind of collaboration between these agencies on a local level. We have some incredible local agencies that have the skills to work with the prevention, the treatment, and the law enforcement for this. If we can all get on the same page, we can work stronger together. Now let me talk about the in-state tuition. I realize that this is a complicated issue from all sides. And many people in our community are very passionate about this. For this reason, I want to clarify when we're talking about this situation. We're talking about a small subgroup of graduating seniors from high school who were brought here when they were too young to consent. They've met all the requirements for high school, and they're asking to pay tuition to the institutions. Let's be clear, in-state tuition is not a Tennessee promise, it's not a grant, and it's not a scholarship. I cannot say that the bill that was proposed was the right bill, but as any high school graduate, there's 4 basic options. You can be educated, you can get a job with menial pay with no benefits, you can go on government assistance, or you can be incarcerated. Now think about it. Which one of those is the cheapest for the taxpayer? It's education. And let me say, I cannot in good conscience stand here and say that I would look these children and the adults, teachers, school board members, anybody who works with these children, and say to them after a year, after they get through with high school, that's it, you can't go any further. The top priorities for the next 2 years in the state of Tennessee are, to me, are the eradication of the opioid drug epidemic and better paying jobs for Tennesseans, because they both affect us, especially here in Hamilton County. I believe that I have the experience, the dedication, and the track record for leadership to best serve you as your state representative. I will be influenced by only one group, you, the taxpayer. It's time that Hamilton County has a state representative who will go to Nashville and not alienate himself with the governor, not be controlled by other special interests, and not make decisions based on what's best for Chattanooga or Memphis or other town, but based on what's best for us here in Hamilton County. That's why I'm running. A vote for me is a vote for Hamilton County first. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pedigo and Mr. Eldridge. Appreciate both of you all taking time to be with us this evening, and we wish both of you all the very best of luck. And thank you so much for willing to get out and serve and represent us. Again, I would like to thank all the candidates for doing the very same thing, for getting out, willing to be active and be willing to speak your hearts. I don't think that each one of you would be here tonight if you didn't care and want to make our community better. So thank you all, and if y'all give them a big hand, please.